What's up, guys? It's Kev here again from SoftKE, and today I want us to make a simple application that is going to be interacting with a MySQL database, and also we'll be using the major web development languages, and that is PHP, Ajax, and JavaScript, and of course HTML and CSS. Our application is going to be a very simple application. Based on the user input, our application is going to give best possible match results. So our database also is going to be a list of countries, and so when a user starts searching for a country name, our application will automatically show the best match results for that particular search. So please make sure you have a running database. You can download a country's database online and then import that to your project. That is localhost, then PHP So I'm going to show you my database that I've already downloaded and imported. So I'll type localhost and then proceed to PHP and then I'm going to log in. My username is root and then password is blank. I'll wait for the page to load. As you can see, I have a running database, and my database name is countries, and my countries database has one table, and that table name is country. If you click on countries like that, you're going to see a list of countries, and the country name, the country flag, nice name, and then numerical code, and then the phone code for that particular country. I have very many countries, and you guys can just, as I said earlier, go to Google, google.com, and then search for countrylist.sql, and then you can see that on GitHub. You can see it on GitHub again and other sites as well. So it's a very easy and simple thing. Just go to GitHub, download that SQL file, create a database called countries, and then you click on import, and then browse to where you saved that countries.sql. So I'm going to go to my local development folder, and then as you can see, I have only, let me just delete the idea, I have only 3 folders. That is the CSS, the images, and the images is the flag images for all those countries, and then the JavaScript folder, which has one file, JS. You can download this file at JQuery official website. CSS folder is empty. We'll be using this folder for styling our application. The images folder is going to contain the images, the flags for the countries, and then the JavaScript is going to hold the default JavaScript file, which will enable us to use Ajax. So I'm going to go and jump right to my development application, that is the PHP storm. And then in the root folder, I'm going to create a new file, a new PHP file, and then I'm going to call this file index.php. Now I'm going to start this file with the HTML tags, syntax. So I can just say doc type, then say HTML, and then start my HTML here, head, title is going to be SoftKE web tutorials, and then I'm going to go to create the body tag. Now in the head tag, we're going to link our PHP file to our styling file, that is the style.css, which you've not yet created but you're going to create, and also to our default JavaScript file. So So to do that, just type script source is in the JavaScript folder, and then that file is js.js, and then I'm also going to link my CSS here. So I'll say link relation is style sheet, type is text for stroke CSS, and then the href, that's where to find the file, is in the CSS folder, and then I'm going to call that style.css, and then I'm going to create that file very quickly, new style sheet file, and call that style.css. So we've already linked our JavaScript here and our CSS file here. So I'm going to go and jump to my body tag. Body tag. We're going to have two divisions, and the first division we're going to call it div id equals user input container, and then it's going to contain our input field. So input type equals text, and then the ID for that input we're going to say user input. Now we're also going to need another division here, div ID equals search result container. Then we're going to style these two divisions so that they are centered in our page. So I'm going to jump to my style.css file and say, first of all, the body tag, I don't want to have any margins, so I'll say margin 0, and then I'll style this container user input container div to the following styles. So we're going to give it a height of say 100 pixels, and then width of 100%, and then the background color we want it to have say light slate gray. Now I'll jump right to my project and see how it appears on the browser. So I'm going to go to localhost and then click on my project. Let me just change this to modern style. My project is of KE suggest, so I'll click on that. As you can see, we have our division here and then our input field here, but it is not styled as we want. So I'm going to style that input field very quickly so that it is centered, and the ID for that input is user input, so I'll copy that quickly and style it here so that the height is 50 pixels, width of say 80% of the container, and then margin left of 10%, or rather let's give it 25% margin left, and then the width we're going to change that to 50%, and then also give it some margin top of say let's say 40 pixels. So if I reload that, you see that our input field has been centered, and then we don't want it to have any we want it to let us style the default border so that it appears as we want. So we can say that the border we want it to be thin, solid gray or dark gray, and then I'll quickly comment on that, and if I reload, you see our input field has been successfully created. So what we want with the application is that when the user starts typing a country name like Kenya, then our application is going to show possible results here just below the input field. So let us style the search results container. So I'll quickly copy this and then jump to my CSS styling. Then say I want it to have a height, just for these purposes we're going to use a height of auto because we don't know the number of possible returns for that particular user input. So we're going to give it a height of auto, then a width of 50%, and then margin left of 25%, and then a box shadow so that it appears raised of say 4 pixels, 4 pixels, 4 pixels, and then 4 pixels, and then gray. So if you reload on that, you can see that it has actually been created, but you cannot see the full division because the height is auto. And since the height is auto, we don't have any content in here, and that's why our results container division is very small, but will grow progressively as results appear. Now, enough with the styling. We're going to go to our index.php file and say that when a user inputs or starts typing on the input box, on the input field, so we say on input, we're going to create a function here that is going to be called whenever the user starts typing on that particular box. So on input, let us create a function called trigger search. Yes, trigger search, and this is a JavaScript function. So I'm going to create a script here and make a function here. So I'll say function trigger search. What do we want to do with this function? So we are going to get whatever the user has entered here in our input box. So we are going to define a variable here, and to do that we say variable user underscore input equals document.get element by id user input dot value, that is what has been entered. And then we're going to use Ajax here and say Ajax the type of call that you want to make is post, and then the URL, which file are we calling so that it processes whatever the user has entered. So we're going to call that search master.php, and then the data that we want to pass to that search master.php is search query, and the value of search query is going to be this variable here. So we say user input, and then after a successful call we want to define a function here that is going to do the following. So we're going to look for search container, and then add the data that has been returned. So to do that, we're going to do document.get element by id, and the id we want to look for is search result container, and then say .inner html equals whatever has been returned, and that is the result. So we've not created this search master.php file, and we need to do that so that this file actually processes what the search query and then give possible results. So quickly I'll right click on my root project folder and then create a new PHP file and call that search underscore master.php, and then quickly create a connection to MySQL database, and to do that I won't define variables here, but you can simply define variables that will hold the server name, the username, the database and the password, but I'll quickly create a connection and say variable connection equals new MySQL, and then the host name that you want to connect to is the local host, and then the username that you want to connect to localhost using is root, and then the password is empty, and then the database, as we said earlier, is countries. So this has already created a connection to MySQL database. However, this is not the right way to do it, but it's also still acceptable if security is not a concern. So I'm going to declare a variable here and say search query or user search input, and say that is going to be equal to post what the user has entered, and what the user has entered here is the search query. So we're going to copy that and then paste that in here, and then we're going to define another variable and say query equals select all from our table, and the table that we're talking about here is the table country. So select all from country, where say name, that is the country name, where name, so where name like whatever the user has entered. So we remember searching with PHP, you have to use these two percentage signs, and then put the search query, or rather the user input, in between the two percentage signs. So I'm going to say user search input. So, and then I'm going to run the query and say result equals the connection variable that we created, and then run the query, and the query that we want to run is that query variable here. So if there are results, if result number of rows is greater than or equal to 1, that means there are results. We need to loop through the results, so we're going to use a while loop here and say while row, which is another variable I'm declaring right now, equals result fetch array. That is why I said it's an array variable that I'm declaring. So while there are results, we want to show these results to the user. To the user. So if, for example, I typed a country like Kenya, if there are results, show the country and the country flag in our application. So I'm going to close this PHP and then start it again, and then write HTML in here, HTML in here. So I'll declare a division here, and this division I'll declare division here, and this division will actually hold the row for that particular result. So I'm going to say that div id equals row result, and then row results division will have another division, and that division is going to hold country image. So I'll call that country image, and then I'll still have another division here. That division is going to have country flag, no, country name, sorry, country name, and then still create another division here, and that division will hold the font code, and that is all. So font underscore code, Now let us style these divisions so that the data is displayed in an appealing way. So I'm going to copy these and jump to my style.css file and say that the row I want it to have a width of 100% and then a height of say 40 pixels, and then a border bottom being solid, say gray. So after that, we're going to style the country image division, and it's going to occupy a portion of the row result division. So I'll say I want it to have a width of 20%. I want it to have a height of 40 pixels like the parent, and then um, I want it to hold an image, and to do that I'll say the country flag div, any image that is within the country flag div, I want it to have the following style. So I'll say the height of the image is going to be say 30 pixels, and then the width I want it to have say 50 pixels, and then border radius of say 2 pixels, and that will be all for the image. And then I'm also going to style the country name division. So I'm going to do that very quickly and say I want it to have a width of say 30%, no, 40%, 40%, and then height just occupy uh, 50, no, sorry, 30 pixels, or rather 40 pixels, and then I want it to have a line height of still 40 pixels, and then I want it to float left. Still for these I want it to float left, and then quickly style sorry, font code division. And font code division is going to have most of these properties, but for the width, so I'll copy that and change the width to 40 plus 20, that is 60. So 40%, that is okay. So it's going to have most of these properties, so I'll just leave it that way. Now so we've already styled those three divisions and then the parent container division. So all we need to do is display the result here. And so in this division we're going to say PHP echo row, and then as we say, this division will hold the country flag, so I'll say country flag in between the two quotes, country flag, and then I'll copy these quickly and say this one is going to show the country name, so I'll just quickly change that to name, and then this one is going to hold the country code. So I'll go to my database and see what we call it. That is the font code. So I'll say font code. Now we have three divisions and a parent division. Now the only thing that is remaining is to test and see whether our application is working as we desire. So let's go right ahead and run our application and see whether it's working as we desire. I'm going to reload that and then type for Kenya. Sorry. As you can see, we have no results. Let's go back to our search master.php, and this is because we've used a name that we've not defined. So I'm going to use an ampersand sign there so that PHP detects is this variable that there is that contains the data that has been posted. And then again, another problem I've seen is the font code does not have an underscore. If you go back to our database, the column is just one word. The column name is just one word, font code. So hopefully everything is okay. Let's reload our application and see whether it's searching. So I'm going to type for search for Kenya, and as you can see we have data. And if you look at the image, it has actually given us the location of the image but not the image itself. So to correct that quickly, I'll cut this and say that the image source is that echo row country flag, and then I reload on our application and look for Kenya, and as you can see the flag has been displayed and the code and the country name. Now in this tutorial I did not have all the flags for all the countries. If you look for Uganda, okay, Uganda has the flag, but if you look for Anguilla, for example, does not have the flag. So to solve that, we could say the image on error, we say this dot src equals say error dot png, and error dot png is actually an icon that I had downloaded here, and this is the icon that I'm talking about. So if it does not find the flag for that country, show this as an error. So if we reload there and then type for Anguilla, Anguilla so there is an error here. We could say that equals images, and then the image that we're looking for. So if I type for Anguilla here, as you can see, the error has been displayed, but the country name is there and the font code for that particular country is there. So this is how you can use PHP and Ajax to create a simple suggestion. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let us meet again in the next tutorial.